And welcome back to TKO Talk,
What is going on, guys?
So we just got done with Weili Zhang versus Rose Namajunas by split decision. Rose Namajunas has retained the title.
What a fight!
Not a complete banger, but it was a good. It was a really good technical.
You know,
fight.
yeah. I was gonna say that. Very technical.
Yeah.
A lot of unorthodox styles that came, you know, into this fight.
The biggest thing I would say that I saw is Rose was way more calm and composed. Weili was working too hard for giant shots, trying to knock her out. She seemed nervous from the last fight.
Right.
My two biggest takeaways from this, though, are one, wow, Weili Zhang's ground game and grappling looked really good. Well, I would have to assume you would contribute that from Cejudo. That and Rose's counter striking was phenomenal.
Well, we all know Weili has the power advantage in the two.
For sure.
So, I mean, of course, that if we were going to put into a game plan, it would be to stay on the feet, outstrike Rose, or have a backup plan, which I thought was great, and go for the takedowns.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, it was interesting seeing the way Weili was to get these takedowns.
Right.
And she was staying in. I mean, Rose was doing a good job rolling out. Weili couldn't really hold the top positions for long. But then we go into the fifth round, and Rose sets up this beautiful single leg trip takedown that she just held. It was 2-2, at least for us, going into that last round. And then she just sat on top for about 3 minutes, landed a couple strikes.
Secured the victory.
Like, truly, I love Rose and I love Weili. This wasn't the most exciting fight in the world, but this was a very technical and good fight. And this really came down to that last round.
Well, it simplified one or two things. Rose is definitely the champion.
100%.
And two is that she can take a strong striker like Weili and stand and bang with her.
Definitely. Well, and that was the great thing is just Rose's defensive movement looked really good. Rose was picking better shots. Weili was throwing a lot of things that weren't connecting.
Right.
And Rose was doing a really good job of pulling her movements. And, I mean, Weili was throwing a lot of leg kicks, barely landed any. Rose landed, I'd probably say, like, upwards of 70% of her leg kicks.
Rose definitely had the more accurate strikes.
And the big thing, too, was Weili was focusing so much on power, she's throwing a lot of single shots.
Yep, exactly.
Meanwhile, whenever she would throw these single shots and miss, Weili would sit there, or no, Rose would sit there and go, okay, cool, you threw this big shot, you missed, now I'm coming in. She would blitz her with about 3 to 4 strikes and then end off with a leg kick every single time. It looked fantastic.
It was great. And you just got to give that credit, Trevor Whitman. I mean, that's basically the style. You've seen, I mean, earlier with Justin Gaethje, how calm and composed he was, just staying in there, staying in the pocket and picking his strikes.
And the same thing you saw with his coaching is in the first, I think it was the second round, whenever Weili had her tied up, Rose went to break it, and on the break, she threw a big lead hook, caught her with it, and it was just a really good shot. I mean,
100%.
I'd say neither of the ladies tonight were in extreme danger with each other. I mean, there was some good trading back and forth. They both got each other with some big shots, but nobody was ever really rocked or wobbled or in any.
There was some slippages. I'm not sure if they were
knocked off balance.
Like I said,
for example,
slips.
When they both landed a hook on each other. It looked like Rose stumbled, but her head was fine. I think it was more she just got her balance knocked a little bit because she's taller.
No, 100%.
But that was the big thing is, I mean, Rose really could not pass her guard, and I think I think a lot of this is Weili's training with Cejudo probably really upped her wrestling and her grappling quite a bit. Because
now I will say her ground game from the bottom needs a lot lot and that's ultimately what caused her to lose the last and final round.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she really couldn't figure out how to get up.
Right.
She was kind of sitting there every time. Rose
she was
would
stuck.
Posture up. She would just throw up kicks, wild up kicks that really weren't connecting. Rose was doing a good job of keeping her head down and diving in on her body.
Yep.
But the question is obviously now, where do each of them go for here? We both kind of agree that Rose should fight Carlos Esparza.
Yeah. I think it's the only fight that makes sense.
I think Rose manhandles her.
I mean, it'll be a definitely different battle. I think, more of the battle will be technical on the ground. Carla is a strong, super strong wrestler. The game plan for her is going to be pretty basic and simple.
And what would be fun is Weili and Joanna too.
Oh my gosh!
They've only fought once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that war. I think that would be a really great
I think we both remember
match. After that,
yeah.
I think that would be a fantastic fight.
100%.
I mean, that being said, I also don't know if Joanna goes back to 15.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that would be a really good fight for them, and I think that would be a fun one. So.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
It was a fun, good technical fight. We liked it at the end of the day. You saw impressive things out of both of them, and I mean, Rose is still champ. That was my pick. So
same.
Yeah, it was a good effort on her part. So if you haven't liked this video, go ahead and like it for us, please, if you would. If you want to watch more of our videos, go ahead and subscribe to us. It's easier to get to us, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Peace.